very much in favor of the counting of points.
Does it work for you? No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to your figure skating podcast, your favorite figure skating podcast.
Favorite is the most important part of this intro.
This is what happens when I'm asked to lead us off. Welcome to your figure favorite podcast, The Run Through, where we talk about all the things that make us kiss, make us cry, and make us do part 2 of men's lore, which Adam is leading us in. We left off at the Salt Lake City Olympics. Ashley, Adam, how are we feeling? Ready to go into a new era?
Thank God we have a man on this podcast. As 2 women, we'd be so lost without Adam.
The patriarchy is back on the run through.
The patriarchy is thriving.
I can't wait for this episode. Adam, you're going to take us through when? We're starting after the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics and going through 2018. Is that right?
I think when we talked about the second lore episode, we said that my goal should be making it to 2018. But while I was doing all of my prep for part 2, honestly, there's so much to cover. And there is so much to share that I do not believe that we're going to make it to 2018. I think maybe we'll make it to 2014. I don't know, but I think we should just get right into it.
Yeah, where did we leave off?
So we left off with a little Russian dark magic.
That's right.
I've told everybody about this since I left the podcast. I'm like, did you know about this? And everyone's like,
Ashley's spoiling the podcast for everyone, and not really because they all knew it before her.
Right.
Well, my husband didn't. And he was like, is this real? And I said, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Don't you believe in magic?
Dark magic.
In a young girl's heart?
Yeah.
Don't you believe in dark magic in a young girl's heart? My favorite song lyrics.
It does sound like a Kate Bush reference for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
She's writing that now.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
She's running up that hill to dark magic. Russian dark magic.
So that is where we left off. We left off at the 2002 Olympic Games in Salt Lake City. Also at that Olympic Games, there was some very famous judging funny business, okay?
Mm-hmm. In the pairs event, correct?
In the pairs event that also was later to be found out having to do with the dance event. That is not what this lore is about, but that is to paint the picture of where we are in the scene. So after 2002, Zagainov, our very famous dark magician who did brainwash Evgeni Plushenko into falling on the quadruple toe in his Michael Jackson short program, it has now left the arena. He is nowhere to be found in the figure skating world. Alexei Yagudin now has retired. He won the 2002 World Championships. Now the path seems clear for Evgeni Plushenko to dominate for the next 4 years.
Seems.
It seems that way, yes.
That's very ominous. Who is about to step up and change that, though?
Wait, so, sorry, the dark magician, Zagainov, has now disappeared?
Well, he's just not hired by anyone. Because I feel at this point,
so
I don't want to speak for anyone because there is no article I can reference. There's no sort of anybody I can ask. He just does not show up anymore. He's not hired by any other
Is this for
Russian.
the rest of skating time? Is he going to make an appearance
No,
or he's done?
He's done. He's out of the
figure
picture.
skaters are like, we dabbled, we flew too close to the sun, and now
Flew too close to the dark magic.
We flew too low to the hell is what they really feel.
right.
So you have to imagine that over the next few seasons, Evgeni Plushenko's coach, Alexei Mishin, who was afraid of Zagainov, is not going to hire him.
See, that to me, bad decision. I would immediately, if a dark magician is up for grabs,
You're going for it.
I would hire him.
Well, that's the difference between you and Evgeni Plushenko, is
there
that
you go.
he did not hire the dark magician.
Okay.
But what he does do is he does pretty much dominate this next 4 years, but it's not without its ups and its downs. as I mentioned, the funny business of 2002 implemented this change in the judging system. Something that we would refer to as the international judging system. And still, Ashley and I to this day call it the new judging system.
The new
even though
system, yes.
it's 20 plus
Even
years
though we
old.
never competed internationally under any other system.
People still call it the IJS.
Okay,
though.
then we're on the right side of history.
IJS, the international judging system.
We're actually not going to see the new judging system at a World Championships until 2005. So that's the first time we're going to see it, but we're doing it on the Grand Prix. So 2003 is the first Grand Prix season we have a new judging system. So that being said, you need to remember that the Grand Prix are now going to be judged differently than the World Championships are. So even if people are skating under IJS, there is still this overwhelming feel of the mechanics of the programs have changed, but the idea of, putting things out there and falling and winning, like that's not a real concept right now.
That's not a strategy yet.
Right. Because something that we talked about in the last lore episode, it's still really important that you skate a clean program. A clean program will win out over somebody who's trying harder things and not doing them cleanly. You still need to push technical boundaries, but the most important thing is that performance. And that still reigns supreme because the World Championships are still being judged under a 6.0 system until 2005. So back to Evgeni. Evgeni is dominating the next few years. He's the 2003 world champion. He's the 2004 world champion. Now, he actually loses the Grand Prix final to a Canadian skater named Emmanuel Sandou.
He lost to Emmanuel Sandou?
Yes, I'm not very familiar with how and what the rules were, but seemingly, because I went and I found the protocol of the event, you were only allowed to do 2 combination jumps. And Evgeni opens his program with a quad toe, triple toe. He skates around, he does a quad toe double loop, which I've never seen before. And then he does a triple axel double toe, which at the time meant if you did any part of that jump combination, if that's invalid, the whole thing gets a 0.
Okay, so he kind of pulled like a Nobu Narioda, and
Who we will get to.
we'll get to him.
Yes. So
And he's not the only one. A lot of people have been downed
He's like
by
the
a bad
famous
combo.
one in my mind, though.
I think of Javier Fernandez in Sochi with the combination jumps.
Well, so this
as an
used
issue,
to be
too.
such a big problem. Well, it didn't used to be such a big problem, but it was such a big problem for the skater who would do it, because if they did any part of that jump, like anything that was like invalid got a 0 across the boards. And now it's not as harsh. Where if somebody does too many double toes or something, they won't count the double toe, but they won't invalidate the entire element. So,
Right.
Evgeni missed out on a ton of points. And that's the reason he loses the Grand Prix final to Emmanuel Sandou, who we're not going to talk about him much else.
He's not
throughout
like a
this.
main player.
No, but he is like this fantastic Canadian skater who is truly like one of the most like talented skaters that's ever come out of Canada. Like he's phenomenal, like an incredible artist. He's an amazing dancer off of the ice. He's even like competed on So You Think You Can Dance Canada. He's phenomenal. And he's actually one of the skaters that Mishin says that like if he's ever to go clean, he's the most afraid of Emmanuel Sandou.
But that was the problem with Emmanuel.
Right. And so this is really the only time where we see Evgeni not win, except for there's a new young teenage skater from France. He's gorgeous.
My first love. Continue.
He's gorgeous. He's implementing so much of the Alexia Guden style that it's just so...
It's so sexy.
It's sexy. It's good. And in this 2003-2004 season, he has this incredible program, To the Matrix. Now, this in skating is the original The Matrix program. You've seen Kaori Sakamoto, 3-time world champion, skate to the Matrix. But have you ever seen Brian Joubert skate to the Matrix?
I have. many times.
Oh, I bet you have. The culmination to this brand new French skater being on the scene is his European title in 2004. He edges out Evgeni Plushenko. He wins the European title. I mean, this is a huge deal. It's the first time since like 96 that a non-Russian has won the European title. So in France, this is a big deal. We're getting closer and closer to the Torino games. And now we have somebody else who's a gold medal favorite.
Would you call him the favorite?
Evgeni Plushenko is still the favorite, but we have somebody who's like in contention, somebody who can challenge Evgeni, because at this point, nobody's really that close. There's such a gap between him and the rest of the world, not even like the fields.
Is it the quads? What is it that's making that huge gap?
It's a little bit of everything.
Like he's just got the momentum too.
Well, and he's got the flair, he's got the style, he's got the attitude, and now post 2002, he has the experience that these guys don't have. And one thing about Plushenko is that he goes into all of these events and he just owns the space. You know, he gets onto the ice, he doesn't even do a single element, and you can already feel it in the air that, okay, well, this guy will win. It doesn't matter. All of these other skaters coming out, they just feel younger and they just feel not as seasoned. At this time, you know, like I mentioned, it's really important, like the aura that you put out, because that is how you win these competitions, with the charisma, with the full package.
No, 100%.
He's backing it up technically. Like he is still doing the quads, and he's doing everything right.
But if you haven't paused to watch one of Plushenko's programs yet, like if our first episode didn't convince you, you need to go pause, stop what you're doing, and go watch a program, because we can talk about it all we want, but you have to see it and experience it to really understand the balls this man skated with. He stepped out onto the ice and just owned that space and commanded the attention of an arena unlike almost any other man I feel like we had seen up to that point.
Truly. I mean, he owns it like nobody else. Like everywhere he goes, it's Vegas.
It's Vegas, baby.
That's showbiz, baby.
That is showbiz. And showbiz is famously right now in this era of men's figure skating based in St. Petersburg.
The Las Vegas of
Petersburg,
Russia.
Nevada. So we get to the 2004 World Championships, and at this World Championships, Plushenko, he wins his third world title. His free skate is it's like a Nijinsky tribute, who's a famous ballet dancer.
The perfect person to do a ballet
But
tribute.
you know, this is the thing about Plushenko, where like he does Nijinsky justice in only a way, and I say this with my eyes wide open.
They look like
two saucers.
Dinner plates.
Right. Two dinner plates. Only a way that Plushenko can, where you can tell he's doing this in the most respectful way he absolutely can. And I can tell that he can't kick his leg over 90 degrees.
Right.
Like you can tell he knows who Nijinsky is. And that
which is important.
Ballet.
It's really important when you do a tribute program.
Yeah.
Now, all this to say, again, I echo what Ashley just said. It's like he's undeniable at these like events. But Brian Joubert follows up his European title with his first world medal. And he's silver at this World Championships.
Silver Sisters.
Silver Sisters.
And sorry, this is in 2005, the year before the Olympics?
We're still in 2004. Yes,
Okay.
because in 2003, Evgeni's the world champion. 2004, he's also the world champion, but he lost that European title to Brian Joubert.
And things are shifting.
Things are shifting. Right before the 2004 championships, he had lost the Grand Prix final to
Emmanuel Sandou.
That's all in the same season.
Okay, so he had some hiccups in the 03-04 season. But he wins his world title anyway.
Yes. Brian
Okay.
Joubert, new kid on the scene. Like we established, Ashley's first love. He's hot, he's young, and
I'm bothered.
he's famous. Ashley's bothered. She's hot and bothered.
Yeah, that was my play.
Brian Joubert is hot and unbothered because he is famous in France. He starts dating Miss France, Laetitia Blager.
Yeah, heartbreaking day for the 13-year-old that I was.
Yeah, he's a big deal in France.
He is.
Dating Miss France. Ashley's stewing at home in Washington, D.C. at this point.
I said, when I go through puberty,
When
things
I
will
get
change.
these braces off,
I had my braces.
so now let us head into 2005, if I may.
Let us.
Please.
I'm there.
What's going on, by the way, as we go into 5 and 6? Like, what's going on with the U.S. men at this
Yeah,
point?
are we just irrelevant?
We're not irrelevant.
Okay. Okay. We jumped in too early, Sarah.
No. You're it's a precursor of what's to come. So we're going to head into the 2005 worlds, but don't you worry, Sarah. That's a really excellent question. I'm glad you asked it to the class. Now, let the teacher finish the lesson. Good night. I pass out. So we're going to head into the 2005 World Championships, and this is truly the first time we have like any real doubts because Evgeni is obviously the overwhelming favorite. And I think he's sort of the sentimental favorite at this point, too. Like, we've seen him have his ups and downs. We've been watching him for the past, 4 or 5 years. Like, he is somebody who we all love and we want to see succeed. We know the demons and the battles that he went through at the
And the
2002.
dark magic.
And the dark magic. And when I say demons and battles, I literally mean
Demons and battles.
yes. So the 2005 World Championships, they are in Moscow. And there's a qualifying round. Evgeni wins his qualifying round, but he finds himself in 5th place after the short program. He's injured. After the short program, he has to withdraw. And this injury, eventually, he's going to need to get surgery. And he gets a groin surgery in Munich shortly after this championships. But the door is wide open now. And it's wide open. And who steps right through? Swiss Stephane Lambiel.
God, this is such a good era of
It's an
skating.
incredible
Very
era.
attractive era of skating.
Oh, God.
Beautiful men in this era.
Uh-huh.
This
Yeah.
one's not for us, though.
No, no.
This man is not for us.
Now, Stephane Lambiel wins the world title. He's 19 years old, and he's finally healthy. He's finally ready to step up. This is his real big first moment. He was just 4th at the Europeans just a few weeks ago. He's had a few knee surgeries already at 19.
Wow, I didn't know that.
This is like a moment. Like he's undeniable. The spin,
And this is the new
skating.
system, right?
Yes, this is our
Okay.
first World Championships under a new system. And, at this point, like the way that the programs are done, there are 4 spins. There are 8 jumps. The men's free skate is 4.5 minutes. A lot of these
too much
elements are leaning into a skater like Stephane Lambiel stepping up. It also leans into a skater like Jeffrey Buttle.
And now choreographer.
And now choreographer. So to tie it to today, Stephane Lambiel is the coach of some of the top men's skaters.
Denis Vasilyev's famously.
He coached Shoma Uno until last year when he retired for several years.
Jeffrey Buttle, also a choreographer of today, has choreographed for some of like the best skaters in the world. He got all of his choreography done by David Wilson, who did all the choreography for Yuna Kim. Jeffrey Buttle is also a choreographer for skaters like Yuzuru Hanyu, among many, many others. In this newer system, we have skaters doing programs with lesser difficulty, but cleanly, and the points are working out in their favor. So we're starting to see a strategy that we didn't see before, because at this point, yes, you needed to do the clean program, but there is a feeling that a quadruple jump attempt gives a program that not having one felt like, oh, you're not doing one. So you needed to go out there and you needed to try one. And Jeffrey Buttle is going out there and trying one, and he's falling on it, but he's doing it, and everything else he's doing to such a high level that he's getting great GOEs on this, which is great of execution. He's a phenomenal skater. So it's working out in his favor. And now you might be asking, who was the bronze medalist at this World Championships, which I will get to. But to go back to Sarah's point of what is going on in the United States of America. This is truly an amazing, and there has been no better time in the history of this podcast to talk about our next rivalry. Now, it's a great rivalry, and it's between Johnny Weir and Evan Lysacek.
Let's go.
So excited.
Now, when I was thinking about this rivalry, I remember it in a different light because it just felt like they were always neck and neck, and it was always either Johnny or Evan. But this rivalry isn't really a rivalry until we get past Torino. But this is the gist of how it gets started.
It's simmering.
I actually think I'd like to take a pause for a second, because there's something that I'd like to say to kind of button out like our premiere of, now we've heard about the Jeffrey Buttle, we've heard about the Brian Joubert, we've heard about the Stephane Lambiel. I think right now would be a good time to mention that in 2005, Brian Joubert does not find himself on the world's podium. But he's going through a lot that we will find out after the World Championships. And what we find out is that after the World Championships, Brian Joubert is suing his former girlfriend, Leticia, for 40,000 euros because she insinuated that he was gay.
Wait, what?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I was lusting after someone with toxic masculinity.
This is such, by the way, beside the point.
Am I going to get sued?
Well, it's funny that this is, not funny, but like, so this past weekend, I saw the new Mission Impossible movie, and I just like Googled
to see how this goes.
Mission Impossible and ended up reading Tom Cruise's whole Wikipedia page.
Naturally.
And
as one does.
He had multiple lawsuits involving people claiming that he was gay or had some kind of relationship with a man. There were multiple instances in his like personal life section of his Wikipedia where he like took legal action against people saying something about this. I feel like it's, my point being, and that was all like late 90s, early 2000s.
It's
I
of
feel
the
like
time.
It's like of the time.
Yes.
When,
But you
like
know what
you're
is the
talking about with
gayest
Brian.
thing you can do?
Go to court.
Sue someone for saying you're gay. That's
you know
really
what?
gay.
Not to defend Brian Joubert, but I will, because there is nothing worse than being called gay. And I actually will be suing I'm going to sue my husband, actually, for 40,000 euros. And if you guys don't shape up your act, I'm going to sue you too.
Okay.
So he sues Leticia for 40,000 euros for insinuating that he was gay. And I want to read you the quotes of what she said to the very credible. Yeah. Well, he likes guys. No. No, she says this to the very credible and very famous high journalistic integrity Celebrity Weekly in France.
Of course.
And in this, she says, I gave Brian everything and received nothing in return. I loved him too quickly. I was in love, but he used my fame for personal gain to make people believe he was going out with girls.
Oh. At first, for most of that quote, I was like, oh, this isn't even going to be about him being gay. And then it was.
Technically, it's because she insinuated. I'm like, she didn't say he was gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because technically you could take that. She could spin that as like he wanted to seem like he was like a ladies' man and just like had like a thriving love
Sarah,
life.
I've always told you need to go to school to become a lawyer, and you're really just proving it further right now.
I could spin anything.
Well, it would have helped if you were in the courtroom with Leticia. She and these two magazines are ordered to pay 17,000 euros, and one of the magazines involved in the suit was ordered, in addition to the 17,000, to publish the court ruling. Because like I
Wow.
said, there is nothing worse than being gay. And it should cost everyone $17,000.
I mean, God, she's barely insinuating that, to be fair. Like, I get it. It is an insinuation for sure, but that's a tough ruling.
Yeah.
It is a tough ruling.
I wonder if it changed people's minds.
It feels like you can't prove that he wasn't doing that. I wonder what the like defamation laws are in France. They're different everywhere.
I mean, I am curious of like when they went to court and how did he prove it? They're like, make out with this guy.
Yeah.
And he's like, I hate this.
Yeah.
No. They're like, he's innocent. Yeah. And it makes sense. He was off the world podium. He was obviously talking to lawyers, not his coaches. So let's go back to the US, as I had mentioned. We're talking now about the great rivalry between Johnny Weir and Evan Lysacek. Johnny, he's from Pennsylvania, like Taylor Swift.
Classic American Pennsylvanian boy, Johnny
Yes.
Weir.
Johnny is sort of like, he's like a savant, truly. Like, he doesn't start skating until he's 12, which is, I mean, it's an absolutely mind-boggling age to start skating at and then to be as successful as he was. And not only that, to be as successful as quickly as he was. So in 2001, he's the junior world champion. And when we see his skating for the very first time, it's almost like he's finally our answer to that Russian balletic style of skating that was winning over the Elvis Stoikos and that was winning over all of this international field in these big international events. It was the answer to the Urmanov. It was the answer to the Kulik. And now we as Americans had that. But, you know, there was still this like, I don't know what to do with that because men are meant to be soldiers in their programs. Men are meant to go to war. They're meant to portray that they have a wife at home.
Right.
Uh-huh. Right.
But
Did he have a Russian coach?
no, he had a coach. So he is from Pennsylvania, but trained in Delaware at the University of Delaware with his coach, Priscilla Hill, who actually, we will get to in the women's lore, did also train with, but not at the same time.
No, I think he had just left when I came onto the scene.
Okay. So he was training with Priscilla Hill at the University of Delaware. Johnny, he's young, he's very influential, he's new on the scene. And if you remember, there are some huge Russian coaches now on the East Coast who, after the Soviet Union had fallen apart, are now in the United States. And so this is where Johnny starts to establish a relationship with Tatiana Tarasova.
Tarasova, who took in Yagudin when he left Mishin because Mishin was favoring Plushenko. Yagudin goes to Tarasova, she repackages him, and he wins the Olympics. Am I remembering that all correctly?
You are remembering that absolutely perfectly, Sarah.
Okay, great.
And
All right.
so she is a huge deal now in the singles skating community, because something we also talked about was that, you know, she has a history as a pair skater, but then became a really famous ice dance coach. Ilya Kulik, her first single skater student. This really gets the ball rolling, and a lot of Americans are trying to take advantage of her being in the United States. Because how does Johnny get in touch with Tatiana Tarasova? Well, he reaches out to Sasha Cohen, who's working with Tatiana Tarasova in Connecticut. So that's how he establishes that relationship with her. But his main coach is still Priscilla Hill. When we get to 2003, this is the first time that it really feels like Johnny can make a really big splash on the national scene. He's already a junior world champion. And at this point, it's like, okay, when is he going to get onto the world team? Like, let's see what he can do internationally, because he really has that like beautiful lines. Like, his skating is undeniably beautiful and gorgeous and effortless. The lines, like, it is beautiful.
He's the artist of this generation, really.
Yes. And I'll argue that there are other artists.
This generation was full of artists, for sure.
Yes. But he has a style all his own that is really reminiscent of these like great Russian champions and a little bit of a 1976 Olympic champion, John Curry. Like, it's balletic. It's beautiful. It's all about the lines. It's all about the look. So in 2003, Johnny is at the national championships and he finds himself in a position to get a medal or win the championships after the short program. But this 2003 men's nationals at the US Championships is like the weirdest event I've ever watched. I still remember it like vividly. It's such a mess. Now, Johnny goes out. He's not in full form. So he's hoping he can make it through this free skate. So he starts his program and the music starts. He's doing the choreography. Nothing's even started. I'm talking 15 seconds in. He skates backwards and he's doing something like Moody where he's like not looking exactly where he's going. And he skates backwards and his heel hits the wall, gets, twisted into the boards, and he falls over.
I feel like I've seen this program. I feel like I've seen this happen.
What program is this? What is he skating to?
He's skating to Dr. Zhivago.
Okay, yep.
Which he will skate to the next season 2, which is like the more famous version, the like happier version of this program. Okay. So he falls and he gets up very slowly, holding his back. And it's like, okay. And these falls don't look bad. But now, like in retrospect, we know that like he was having injuries.
Right. He was already hurting.
And these stupid falls where it's you are not expecting to fall are sometimes the worst ones because you're not bracing for impact. You're not ready to fall.
Yeah.
You're never ready to fall, but sometimes you're prepared for it.
But sometimes you can be a little bit more ready.
Yeah, well, you could be wearing gloves.
Well, then you're.
Well, he probably was.
I don't think he will wear gloves. Absolutely.
He's a famous glove wearer.
Yes. So he falls. He gets up. He goes over to the referee. And we're kind of unsure of like what's going to happen. Is he going to pull out or what's going on? And he goes over to the referee and they agree that he can start from the point that he fell, which I'll remind you was 15 seconds into the program. He had not done a single thing.
Got it.
He skates a lap. He kind of collects himself. They start the music over and he picks it up from the spot that he fell. He goes around. He does a triple axel. It's not perfect, but like he stays on his feet. He does the next few jumping passes, like he's gaining momentum, and then he goes into the second triple axel, and he comes down, and he's just completely twisted, like feet crossed, going the wrong direction. He slides out. Like this fall doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Again, in retrospect, it's like, oh, he was hurt. But at the time, it feels like, okay, he just started over because he hit the wall and wanted to start over. And now he fell on this thing that kind of looks like he gave up a little bit.
So is this how he starts to kind of get more of a reputation?
Well, at this point, he gets up. He is injured. He cannot finish the rest of the program. He goes over to the referee, and Dick Button, the commentator, is like, I wonder what's going to happen. Oh, he quit. That's too bad.
Oh, no.
He goes to the middle. He takes his bow. Johnny Weir is out of the event. This was a laundry list of odd skating in this entire men's field.
Like cursed event.
And like cursed evening for Johnny, because Johnny had a longtime sponsor who was like in this arena watching him skate. And later that night, she took a fall and died.
Oh my God.
So it's like a tragic ending to a horrible event for Johnny. There's a journalist at the time who says this is when U.S. figure skating essentially sort of gives up on Johnny Weir. He's not the future. They just don't like the way that he went about this, of like falling on the hitting of the wall and getting up and then having to withdraw. You know, hindsight's always 20/20. Now, when you look back at it, it's obviously he was
injured
in good shape beforehand. Yeah. And so in this off season, Johnny really has something to prove. And he also has so much potential. Like, it's just, he's oozing and gushing with potential and talent. Like, he is truly an amazing skater. I don't ever think we've ever seen somebody like a talent like him.
Yeah.
Starting at 12, just has such an incredible, like, natural ability.
Isn't there like a story that's gone around that's like Johnny landed like an axle one of the first times he ever was on the ice?
Something like, I've heard stories like that, or like he taught himself before he even had like a lesson or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like the kid from the Will Ferrell movie. Blades of Glory. He was the kid, he like that freakishly talented orphan. Like, but that was Johnny, except he wasn't an orphan.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I haven't seen that movie in a very long
Me
time, so
either.
I'm having
Oh,
trouble
really?
with the reference.
Yeah.
We'll do a lore episode about that.
A watch along.
In this off season, he continues to work with Tarasova, but he really feels like he has like something to prove because that 2003 free skate has left a really bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. But he
Right.
refocuses and he has to qualify to the national championships. So he has to go through regionals and sectionals and all of that stuff. And when we get to the 2005 national championships, Johnny has a great short program like he did in 2003. And then at the 2004 nationals, he skates the Dr. Zhivago yet again. And this time it's perfection. It's
Okay.
phenomenal. And he wins his first national title
Okay.
In 2004.
in 2004.
Okay.
To tie it back to what we talked about in the last lore episode, Rudy Galindo won his national title in 1996, and he's the last man to win it that had to qualify to nationals, who needed to go through the regionals and the sectionals and the like local qualifying events, and then would win the title.
Because I think we should note not every single athlete has to go through all the steps of qualification. I didn't have to go through qualifiers from like 2006 on because I was pre-qualified either based on the last year's nationals placement or my international results. There's so many different things that can kind of pre-qualify you. So to go from regionals, there are 9 regions.
Mm-hmm.
Then sectionals, 3 sections, and then nationals.
Right.
That's kind of how skaters make it to nationals.
Yeah.
So to start from there, it's a big deal to make it all the way through to the end and then stand on top of the podium at nationals.
And it's really atypical that a skater
It's
that
not normal.
needs to go to regionals and sectionals is somebody who would be considered a favorite.
And it really only happens in this kind of situation where somebody has had like an injury or a withdrawal the previous season where they don't meet the qualifications to just get a bye to nationals.
So he wins his first national title in 2004, and in 2005, he has to defend that title, and he does. And on this podium, the bronze medalist is Evan Lysacek. This is the first time Evan Lysacek ever appears on a national podium. So let's do a little background on Evan Lysacek. Where has he been?
Chicago.
Yes. So Evan's from Chicago, and when he graduated high school, he moved out to California to start working with Frank Carroll in 2003. He is a world junior medalist. He was second to Johnny in 2001. But it's in this like 04-05 season that he starts to really make a splash. Like he's somebody who's going to step up to the plate. He medals at nationals for the first time. He gets the bronze. He's named to the world team. And his number one goal for this world championships is that he will qualify for the free skate.
That's still a big deal. It is difficult to qualify for the free skate. It's a big deal, but for him, doable.
And so when we get to the 2005 World Championships, some of the favorites don't skate well. Some of the favorites are withdrawing. Evgeni Plushenko is out of the event. And Johnny is injured when we get into the 2005 World Championships. And so, he says that he talked to Tatiana Tarasova, who was really the one who inspired him to kind of keep pushing and just continue and make it through the World Championships. But the surprise and the shock of the podium is that Evan Lysacek wins the bronze medal.
in 2005?
Yes.
Wow.
And remind, who's on top?
So Stephane Lambiel,
Okay. And then second?
Jeffrey Buttle,
Okay.
and third, Evan Lysacek.
Oh.
Okay. And so some of the favorites who are not represented are Plushenko, who had withdrawn after the short, right?
Yes.
And Johnny, who did skate at the World Championships but was injured. And Brian Joubert, who was in litigation.
Yes, who was in court, but also
Who's
at this
suing
World
someone.
Championships. He was preparing documents in Moscow.
In lieu of training.
So that's 2005. That's our lead up into this Olympic season. Okay. In this
Okay.
Olympic season, this is really the beginning of like, okay, wait, now we have 2 American men who have potential to be on this podium.
But you would still say that we are not at a point where you would call the Evan-Johnny dynamic a true rivalry yet.
At this point, no.
Because you said after Torino, you felt like is when it happened.
This is really when it happens because like Johnny is still, we still like regard Johnny as like the best American skater. And I mean, he's given us nothing to believe that he isn't. Like all of the potential he has compared to someone like Evan, who's truly like making it work. Like he's making it work. He's muscling through these jumps, but he's getting them done. Are they the most gorgeous jumps? No. But is he showing up when it matters? Yes. And that at the end of the day is the name of the game.
But because we haven't seen like a healthy Johnny go up against Evan, we can't really say who's better.
Yes. He still has the benefit of the doubt. Our patience is wearing thin of like, okay, another injury, another issue. Like, in this Olympic season, this is the first time I really feel and I really believe that we see a glimpse of the Johnny we know today. He's just totally flamboyant. He's outspoken in a way that he hasn't been before. He's the huge personality that I think when you think of Johnny Weir now, this is like where it all began. It began post Brian Joubert's litigation.
Inspired by the 17,000 euro payout.
Yes.
Johnny Weir became who he was always meant to be.
Not gay, but for pay.
Not gay for pay.
Right, not gay for pay.
So what do I mean? Well, I think the quotes are way more outrageous and the programs are way more avant-garde. They're way more out of the box. And this short program that he has in this Olympic season, it's choreographed by Tarasova, by Shanetta Follet, and Evgeni Platov, who is, we will talk about greatly in the dance floor. And this short program, it's way ahead of its time.
What is he skating to?
He's skating to The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns.
This is one of his famous
I mean, this is one of the most famous like figure skating programs in general. Like,
down to the costume as well.
Yes, because Ashley does love to reference Blades of Glory. Yeah. This costume is also referenced in that movie. I'll paint a little picture of like, you know, you have to imagine the overtop Russianness of a program like this, of what it could be.
I mean, yeah, something that has Platov and Tarasova involved.
Absolutely.
It's Russian squared.
So the costume is one orange glove.
He's got a bird on his hand.
Yes. That orange glove represents the beak of the swan. So Johnny does a lot of different movements that like will show that like he's the entire silhouette of the swan and his arm is like the neck of the swan. And, you know, it's really clever. I think it's clever. It's not like tacky in any sort of way, even though it sounds like his arm is the neck. Like it's really, this is an amazing program.
There's a lot of things that people do on the ice that are so cool and tasteful on the ice, but when you try to describe them with words, they sound like they wouldn't be.
Oh, it's the most tasteless thing a person could do. It's almost like having a magazine to pay out 17,000 euros. Because your ex-girlfriend, Miss France, said that you were using her.
Okay, so he does the swan.
He does the swan. And now, like, let's paint the picture again. Like, it's 2005, it's 2006, and Johnny is going out there, and with this program, like, it's camp, right? This program is camp, but not only is it camp, it's beautiful. It's, like, breathtaking.
Yeah, it's not traditional masculine energy that we're seeing in figure skating.
No, and it makes people uncomfortable. Famously, the swan is performed only by a female in point shoes. And with this, he's pushing like the ideas of gender in men's skating. And what's so crazy is that, like, you know, so many Russians can be homophobic or say homophobic things, but this is like a program made by Russians. They'll call you the F slur, but then they'll make you a program where you're a swan.
Right.
Because the arts are so important to Russian people.
I was just about to say, I feel like Russians care so deeply about like high art.
Yes.
They do.
and are okay with anyone performing high art, I think.
Yeah.
Like are less like have less ideas about who can and should do the art. But then if you act like a certain way outside of the art, that's when they get upset.
That's real life, though. You can't be gender bending in real life, but
I feel like within the art, they don't have as many ideas as maybe like the traditional Americans might about like what you can or cannot be within a piece of art.
they're two very separate
Yeah.
cultural standards.
Separating the art from the artist.
And not even that, like highly regarding the artist. Like Johnny is gaining such a Russian fan base because, again, like I mentioned, like he's sort of this return to that like Urmanov, Petrenko style. And so he's, I think, arguably maybe not as famous as Evgeni Plushenko in Russia, but he's right up there where he's recognizable on the streets. Mm-hmm. People love his skating.
He's also speaking Russian.
Yeah, he's completely, at this point, completely infatuated with like the Russian culture, which will come up again quite soon, actually. This is like it's uncomfortable for people to see this, and it's really uncomfortable to like the Western audience. Like there's a lot of like North American people who are like, men can't be swans because obviously, famously, every swan is a female and a lesbian. Which is gay.
Also, American culture was very much like men figure skating is already a bridge too far, but now you're going to do it and not act like a man. Mm-hmm. And that, I feel like, left a lot of people up in arms.
It did. And I also feel like this is a time where like Johnny is truly kind of loving the controversy.
Totally.
He's coming into his own.
Exactly. Yeah. He's absolutely coming into his own of like, okay, this is where I'm going to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, because he had lost that world medal to Evan Lysacek, there is this sort of, okay, well, who's our top U.S. man? When we get to the 2006 national championships, Johnny does grit his way through winning a third national title. But Evan Lysacek does come out on top in the free skate.
Okay.
So they both head into the 2006 Olympics.
Can I say something about the 2006 national championships?
I would love you to.
I think it's 2006.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the season when Matt Savoy did The Mission?
It is.
Okay. That's one of my favorite programs ever, and I just want to say it. I just wanted to say that.
I'm glad that you brought up Matt Savoy because I was trying to stick to like our main characters, but he is such a beautiful, like pure, incredible skater who like I'm so lucky we got to see him at an Olympic Games.
Such a talent.
Yeah, the step sequence in the Mission program that season is one of my favorite like little sections of a skating program of all time. Go on. I just wanted to make sure I was placing him correctly in the timeline.
I see him at the Skating Club of Boston every now and then, too.
Okay, well, tell him he came up in the men's lore episode part 2.
I'll mention it.
So we go to the 2006 Olympics, and the characters are Johnny Weir entering as the U.S. champion. Evgeni Plushenko, I assume back from injury. Does he win the Grand Prix final that season?
So Evgeni Plushenko, back from injury, he is back in the mix. His most recent event is the European Championships where he just breaks the world record. Now he has the highest scores. He's back.
So he's back, baby.
If he skates well, I don't really believe at this time anybody can really touch him because, again, like Stephane Lambiel is young. He was 19 when he won the world title in 2005.
And Plushenko was injured.
Was injured, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are our favorites. We have Jeffrey Buttle sort of on the outskirts. Maybe an American can be on the podium.
And Brian Joubert.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a Japanese skater, Daisuke Takahashi, who made some waves during that Grand Prix season. So it's an open field because also what we've learned is that like people can be kind of all over the place with this new judging system. Like a bad short program doesn't really mean much.
It doesn't mean you're done.
The beginning of the men are menning.
Absolutely, because we really were limiting the men to men.
Yeah.
And so at this Olympic Games, it is now the short program. So we all remember what happened in 2002 with Evgeni Plushenko. Brainwashed. He was hypnotized.
Yes.
Hypnotized into opening up early on the quadruple
I believe
combination jump.
It's happened to the best of us.
Yeah. I hear the voice telling me to open up all the time.
And we too often succumbed to that voice.
Answer that call.
We too often answered the call.
Yeah.
So I remember watching this and holding my breath because I couldn't imagine, it's the first element back at the Olympic Games. Like, I can't imagine what he was mentally going through. He goes into this jump. I'm telling you, it looked like he was going down. And I was like, no. This time he was hypnotized, I don't know by who, but by someone to land this quadruple jump.
Okay.
And you can just feel that after he lands this opening combination jump, there's a weight that is lifted off of his shoulders for the entire duration of the game. It's now his.
Right,
Nobody can
it's
get
go
close
time.
to him.
Okay.
He ends the short program with, this is a crazy score at the time, a 90.
That's a crazy score. That would be a
That's-
crazy score. Not crazy now, but that's a big score
That's a
now.
competitive score.
Yeah.
It's a competitive score, but like at the time, it's just like, what?
It's crazy.
We
Yeah.
haven't seen people. It's very rare to get in the 80s at this
Okay,
time.
got it.
So he skates and he's kind of untouchable. He's been waiting for this moment for 4 years and he steps up and he does it. So who else is going to step up? Well, wouldn't you know it? Johnny motherfucking Weir. Johnny skates the best short program of maybe his life. And it's just beautiful. Like, it's incredible and it's undeniable. And we're also at an international competition where this style of his skating, maybe it's not fully embraced by the Americans, but it's fully embraced by the world community.
Okay.
So Europe is loving it.
Europe is eating this up. They're
Yeah.
absolutely eating it up. And he ends the short program with an 80, which is a huge score.
That's a very big score then.
So is he in second though?
So he's in second.
Okay.
And so this is kind of setting the stage of like, okay, now what happened to Evan Lysacek in the mix of this? He has the disastrous short program of his life.
Oh.
Damn it.
He's awful. They
Okay.
show him in the stands after he's,
Oh, not an in the stands shot. That's when you know it's bad, like dark days.
yeah, when they find you in the stands with your head in your hands. Like, he's
Okay.
devastated. And he's also now, he's not feeling well. He's not skating well. He doesn't even know if he's going to make it through the free skate at this point. Another thing to mention is that this is the first Olympic Games under the new judging system. And so
Right.
it is a sloppy Olympics because the way that these programs need to be put together is completely different than the way that they were put together 4 years ago. People are learning as they go. Evgeni Plushenko lost the Grand Prix final because he did too many combinations. How was he supposed to know? I mean, he was supposed to read the rules, but like,
There's
aside
just a
from
lot
that,
more rules. There's a lot more rules and things you have to figure out. The programs, what's required, what you have to be mindful of. It's a completely different landscape, especially for athletes who are transitioning through from old system to new system.
yes, there's so many elements. There's too many elements in these programs. And so like the skaters haven't truly learned how to put it all
Skate them.
together. Yes. And Evgeni Plushenko is the most mature, he has the most experience. So he knows he's not going to try to do this like program that he can't handle. And so he's landing the jumps, he's doing the spins, he's doing the footwork, and he has the charisma. And so right now, Johnny is the number one American. He is in such incredible position to get a medal at this Olympics. And it's like,
This is making me have a bad feeling.
yeah. To take you to this time, this is when we're getting the background pieces on a lot of the skaters. NBC does a profile on Johnny. And this is where we get to see, like, how is Johnny acting and what is he doing while he's at the Olympics? So in Torino, Johnny is refusing to wear any of the Team USA gear.
Johnny.
And all of the jackets he's wearing are like CCCP, like Soviet Union jackets,
Johnny.
Russian team jackets. And he's leaning so far into the like the Russians respect me and the Americans don't.
Wow.
Okay.
That is fascinating. Does he say anything about it in the piece?
Yeah. Is he talking about it, or is he just like saying it with his chest?
He's just really leaning into the fact that like the Russians love me and I love Russia.
It's good for his brand, bad for his country.
It's funny that the choice is actually the Soviet Union, which no longer exists at this point.
Fallen.
Exactly.
It's 15 years ago it fell at this point.
Well, you know, it's like it's just a statement. He feels really connected to the Russian culture, like he feels really connected to the Russian coaches he works with, but it's the Olympic Games. And so obviously, I mean, we're in a post 9/11 America.
And not like the remnants of that are still very much in effect. Like if the
remnants of 9/11, I don't feel like went away. And I mean, obviously, like they'll never fully go away. But like, I feel like culturally, 9/11 was very present for like 15 years.
Totally agree.
Yes.
Like forever. For what felt like a very long time.
2006, people were still driving around with flags on their cars.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, well, we were like actively at war for almost 20 years afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
This is a political podcast.
I mean, no, it's just that is very interesting. I'm just trying to imagine like the equivalent of that now. It's hard to imagine an athlete doing something like that.
Well, it's also hard to imagine that an athlete wouldn't get like fined for doing something like that now. Is that crazy to say?
There's a lot of tension between him and U.S. figure skating.
Yeah.
But no, Ashley, that's not crazy to say. I mean, obviously the Olympic setup is different than like leagues, right? But if you were in the NBA, you can get fined for any number of little attire things.
Sure.
Like there are teams that have rules about showing up to a game in like a dress suit. Sure. And like if you don't show up to the arena from your car in a dress suit before you change your uniform, you can get fined, like depending on the team.
Well, so you know what? I should fix my statement a little bit. He's not refusing to wear the Team USA gear. Like he's teetering the line. So anytime there's a practice, which we all know at the Olympics, everything is filmed. Every practice, he's in a Team Russia. He's in a CCCP. So he's doing every single practice in all of this like Russian gear. He is our Russian boy.
I think this would make me mad if it happened now today. And
it makes a lot of people mad.
It's hard for me to put myself in the time period then.
But I think the time period then would be even more amplified.
Right. I mean, Russia is I think worse actually now than they were 20 years ago, like politically.
Yes.
But I mean, okay, I don't think I would like this. Go on.
So this is rubbing people like the wrong way. It is what it is. You know, when you're an American athlete, an American audience wants to see you in your Team USA gear. And Johnny he's Russian. He's wearing the furs in this piece. He's wearing the fur hats. Like, this is really where we're seeing like the Johnny that we know today. And he's unapologetically himself. Take it or leave it. This is who I am. They show in this piece, like he's shopping throughout Italy and he's buying Versace glasses and he's famous and he's just...
By the way, none of this bothers me, by the way, including the fur hat, which is clearly like a Russian thing. That doesn't bother me. The team jacket thing at a practice is what would rub me
That's the only thing that bothers me.
Yeah, that's the only thing that bothers me.
I also think when you have what really feels like a country and a culture at the time so against you embracing your own concept of what it means to be masculine or a person.
Yeah, I get it.
I would shove it down people's throat.
Yeah,
at that point.
I do get it, but it takes some balls to be like, I am going to just because, partially because the Olympics is a much bigger stage than like him doing it at nationals, right? So, you know, you have all these people maybe who watched it at nationals and are not liking it, Americans. And he decides that in front of a larger American audience, many of whom have probably not seen this program and don't have an opinion formed on it, that he's going to really shove it in their faces that he doesn't care about being American, which is, I mean, it just takes guts.
But, you know, to just like paint the picture of this time too, it's like, I think these skaters it's still like we're really still not that far out from the Nancy Tanya boom of figure skating. Like figure skating is still has popularity to it. There's still lots of tours and shows. And I think a lot of these skaters are really living deeply in the skating world. There's no social media. Like there's no Twitter, there's no Instagram. So like they're living in these skating worlds. And I think Johnny's seeing that he's not embraced by the American audience. So he's going to focus his attention and almost prove to the world that I'm a neutral, like I'm the athlete for anybody. I'm Russian. I'm from Delaware, Russia. And so like in this piece, he really is like this is the first time where we're like, okay, Johnny's a diva. And to take whatever feelings anybody may have at this point out of the picture, it is really amazing to see an athlete so giving these wild, truly wild quotes and saying these truly wild things. So now let's go back to the competition and let's stop focusing on the Russian jackets.
Okay.
So we get to the competition and we're getting ready for the free skate and Johnny misses the bus. And Johnny misses the bus to the free skate, which now puts him, I don't know when he was trying to get there, but he says that it now puts him about 90 minutes behind schedule. So he was trying to get there much earlier than he arrives. And he blames this on like nobody notifying him that the schedule changes.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Needless to say, it does not go well in the free skate. So he does not have a great free skate, but and to be honest, Evgeni Plushenko has like the performance of the night. It's not perfect, but like he has the moment he's been searching for 4 years. He's finally the Olympic champion. He deserves it. He was great. Coming in as the reigning world champion, Stephane Lambiel has a really solid free skate and he gets the silver medal. And Jeffrey Buttle recovers from his short program and he comes away with the bronze. Now in fourth place, and who did place third in the free skate, is Evan Lysacek. He ends right off of the podium.
Okay.
And Johnny is somewhere behind Evan. And that is the 2006 Olympics.
But that is, I mean, is it fair to say that that's an extremely disappointing result for the U.S. at that point?
Oh, it's devastating because, I mean, realistically, even just given the results, we had two people that could have been on the podium and Stephane Lambiel and Jeffrey Buttle were not clean. If Evan and Johnny were
like
clean.
The door was open, but they didn't.
The door was open, but you know, this is a common theme, especially in the singles event at the 2006 Olympics, that like there are not many, if any, clean performances. Like these programs are just a completely different beast to tackle than they were 4 years ago. Yeah. And the skaters have only been skating programs like this at like the biggest internationals for 2 seasons. It's almost too much at once. So these aren't like the best Olympic programs like that these skaters could do. These are not like the best of the best for these skaters. Like Evgeni Plushenko skated better before. Stephane Lambiel was better at the World Championships. Like that's the picture. It's brand new for everyone.
Okay.
So after the 2006 Olympics, we go to the World Championships and Brian Joubert redeems himself from his Olympic Games. And Stephane Lambiel wins his second world title with like this phenomenal free skate. So Joubert is back on the world podium and Evan Lysacek is also back on the world podium. So now it's Johnny Weir 3 national titles to Evan Lysacek 2 world medals.
Uh-huh. And Evan was higher than him at the Olympics as well.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd say Evan's winning this rivalry right now.
In these post-Olympic seasons, it can be really difficult for the skaters who went to the Olympics to get
like
ready.
Giddy up and get going again.
Yes, because the Olympics is so interesting. It like breaks the spell for a lot of skaters where it's like, oh my God, I did the thing that I always dreamed of doing. Like it's hard to find that motivation again.
It's very deflating, but not in like you're sad kind of a way. Just I've done the thing I've always worked towards and now what?
Right. You know, Johnny received a lot of pushback for the way that he
handled himself at the Olympics
Yes.
and performed.
Yes. And I think like it was everything. Do you know what I mean? It was like we were ready to like embrace him like, oh, he's in second with this like feminine short program. But then it was like the second he made a mistake, it was like this gay
Russian.
person. Yeah, this
Right.
gay Russian messed us up.
You're a controversial person, and then when you don't deliver, people will eat you alive for it.
And Johnny is not out at this point, correct?
No. Johnny's never out through his entire career.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we'll get to that in a second. So we're leading into the 2007 US Championships, which this whole season for Johnny has been like a bad dream. It's been like a complete nightmare. Like nothing is going right. There is a part of Johnny that seemingly wants to play by the rules. And so in this season, he gets his programs choreographed by 2002 Olympic dance champion Marina Anasina. And this short program is like the most masculine, serious program that he's ever done. And the theme is like he's a chess piece. So he's
cool.
skating, and it's a good program, and it's a totally different take on anything
Johnny.
he's ever done. Yes, it's like a reinvention of Johnny. Because I think at this point, Johnny's like, okay, come on. Like, Evan Lysacek can't be winning these world medals. And like I said, seemingly trying to play by the rules. Seemingly.
Okay.
So we have the chess piece as the short program, and the free
Right.
skate is...
So straight of him.
Yes. And now the free skate, he plays one of the most famous straight men in all of history. You named it, Jesus Christ.
Wait, what?
Yes. So his short program is the chess, and his free skate, he portrays the story of Jesus. Well, and so you can imagine that this is a controversial program, right?
Yeah. Well, because the gays aren't loved by Jesus.
Well, and people, I think, in general, don't like artistic depictions of Jesus.
Right. Jesus is Jesus.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, Ashley. Jesus is
But Jesus can only be Jesus.
Yes, and he can only be played by like a second grader performing Stations of the Cross at their
With
local
cardboard
church.
wings and things like that.
Exactly. Yes.
Child of Nazareth is the name
Yes.
of the music. I just looked it up.
So he's Jesus in a chess piece.
He is. Yes. Everybody's playing checkers. Johnny's playing Jesus playing chess.
Uh-huh.
And so this theme is obviously controversial. He has a million different versions of this costume, and we settle once we get to the national championships with ropes around the wrists, ropes around the torso.
I'm not even religious, and I know you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, it's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily because it's religious, but because it's like in the Bible story is like a very graphic torture scene. Like setting aside that it's religious or not, it's like this graphic torture scene that you are then like, I don't know.
Johnny should know better. And he does know better.
I'm sure
and
he
knows
does.
exactly what he's doing.
Yes, he does.
So that is sort of the problem with this like whole thing, that he's going to play by the rules, but he's going to play by Johnny's rules too.
No, he's like too smart for his own good, Johnny is. Like
Absolutely.
He is. Okay.
This leads us to before the 2007 US Championships. You know, we had already gone through the Russian Johnny in Torino, and in this next season, he's up and he's down, and it's really not going well. Like, he's not having a great season. There's this journalist, his name's Mark Lund, and he goes on this TV show that Nancy Kerrigan is hosting. It's like a preview of the national championships. And he goes on to say in this interview that I can't wrap my head around how overtly out he is without saying he's out. I'm sorry, but I don't think he's a representative of the community I want to be a part of. And who designs these outfits? You cannot compare yourself to the Lord Savior as a figure skater. He then goes on to explain how he disagrees with the way Johnny's conducted himself off of the ice, and then makes comments about how the American audience is really going to better appreciate the macho style of Evan Lysacek. But the comments about being out while not being out are really what stick with everyone. And also, just to remind everyone, Mark Lund is a gay man, and at this time, Johnny Weir is a 22-year-old kid.
Okay, who the fuck
Sounds
is
a little
Mark Lund?
homophobic.
So he created this magazine, International Figure Skating, which was a big figure skating publication.
He made that magazine?
Yes, and then it was bought out by somebody
Okay,
else.
I feel like I've never heard of him.
But he's in this he's in the figure skating world, and he's
Okay. So he's not like a random journalist from outside of skating. He's like an skating
he's
person.
in it, which is why it's even more like, whoa. And these really feel like
personal too.
it is
It
personal.
feels very personal. Yeah.
He goes on, he has to make a statement. He says, "You enjoy being outspoken and a free spirit. You've said frequently that you have been brought up to speak your mind. However, you refuse to support the very community that paved the way for you."
Interesting.
He believes that Johnny is somebody who's enjoying all the rights of the gay community without coming out to support the gay community.
Interesting.
Now, this is a more nuanced perspective that he gives after the interview.
Okay, so the original interview is
his...
basically mean, and then he kind of walks it back by being like,
it's not homophobic, it's just mean. The narrative that I kind of absorbed at the time was Johnny Weir is bad for skating because if a family wants their son to skate, he's the loudest, most flamboyant, visible figure in the field, and he's going to scare off young skaters because dads aren't going to want their sons to skate and turn out like him. Which is an awful
it's
thing.
That's fully homophobic.
That is fully
absolutely.
homophobic.
Setting the homo or the hetero aside, it's anti-art to have that kind of
anti-art.
sentiment. Like a straight man could do the same programs as Johnny was doing in theory. Like we just talked about the way that Russia views men doing art, and I don't know. It's so anti-expression.
But, obviously these comments come and many, many, many people come to the defense of Johnny Weir of these are completely out of line. These are homophobic, which they are. They're not right.
It's funny because I'm guessing it's all the same people who behind closed doors didn't like the Swan program and encouraged him to tone it down. But then when it's publicly said, they're defending him.
Whoa, that's too far.
Right.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. It's Johnny's Swan, like I said, it made people uncomfortable. And it's only after the fact are you yeah, that was really amazing. Do you know? It's we see it now, but it's...
So that's how you push boundaries. Someone has to do it.
It's true. This is why Johnny is still so in the zeitgeist of pop culture and within the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. He opened the door for a lot of artists in this sport to show up and express in a way that falls outside of the, bounds of traditional masculinity.
Yeah.
But it was also an uphill battle for a lot of people because he did sort of paint this picture of if you say these outlandish things, we don't ever want to do this again. So don't shut up and just skate. And that's what really is happening around this time because it's okay, Evan's shutting up and he's skating. And not only that, in this season, he's ready to go. He has a bone to fucking pick because he wants that national title because he's lost it
3 times against Johnny.
Exactly. And so we get to 2007. And like I said, this season has just been it's been a train wreck for Johnny. And he follows it up with a free skate that's uninspiring. And he skates right after Evan Lysacek, who has one of the greatest free skates at a U.S. Nationals I've ever seen. I remember it happening.
Skating to?
He skates to Carmen.
Oh, this is the Carmen program. I love this program.
One of the best Evan programs.
The shaking
it's one
arm
of the,
and...
Yes.
Oh, so
the program is phenomenal. He's phenomenal. It's all coming together
This is a program to watch.
These bronze medals are not by mistake at the World Championships. Evan Lysacek is really coming into his own as a performer, as a skater, as a competitor. He's finding his own style. And yes, it is being painted as one of them is the athlete and one of them is the artist.
But he's getting so much more refined. Before it looked like he was wearing clothes, someone else's clothes. It was nice, but it wasn't tailored to him. He's discovering his style and it's just starting to make sense with his movement.
Yes. And I would just say that they have just two totally different styles because arguably Evan is artistic in his own way. And this is a style that's like, he's performing in the American version of a Plushenko kind of way. In the very like flashy arms, this pizzazz, but it has the refined quality of having a
Frank Carroll being in the room
Exactly.
and Lori Nickel choreographing.
You have like two of the most refined people in skating in charge of your career, so you add that pizzazz with the
polish,
refinement, and it's forgiving to his look on the ice because is his leg always straight? No. Is his knee kind of bent sometimes? Yes, but all together, when you put it all together, it's impressive and it's strong. He's a presence out there. And so
there's nothing that makes a performance seem better than it is than landing all your jumps.
Famously, landing all of your jumps
it just elevates the whole thing. It does.
The energy keeps on building
totally.
with every jump you land.
Yes. This is when I remember being in that building and watching and just feeling like the roof was going to come off. And Evan wins his first national title. He has this incredible free skate, opens with a quad toe, triple toe. Like, it's phenomenal.
And what, Johnny is second at nationals?
Ryan Bradley gets second place because Johnny...
A shot of vodka and a line of cocaine.
Yes, which will get you will put you right in Ashley's silver spoons.
Yep.
And so Johnny just left the door open and Ryan had the performance of his life. Like, it was just the best he had ever skated. And Ryan Bradley was a skater who was a junior world champion, just so much like potential and never really had a breakthrough moment. And this was his breakthrough moment of like, okay, now he's on a national podium. We always knew he could be there. Now he's going to the world championships.
And he's like your charming Americana hometown boy. Like, that's the energy that he kind of
And so
brings.
what's going on in world skating at this point?
So in world skating, we're trying to find like the balance of like, what is life like without Evgeni Plushenko?
Did he officially retire at this
No.
point, or is he just kind of like disappearing? He's taking some time off.
Well, he's taking some time off because he has like unresolved injuries that he needs to take care
Yeah,
of.
and he finally has his Olympic gold, so...
Yes. And so we're heading into the 2007 World Championships. But what ends up happening is that the Russians perform so poorly at this World Championships. It's like the worst result for Russian men since 1960. That Evgeny, in his own words, is concerned that this will affect the future of Russian skating. And so he wants to go out there and like motivate the young skaters coming up. So he's going to be playing with a comeback over the next 4 years.
Right. He's not gone forever.
No, he's not
Just
gone
tending
forever.
to his wounds.
Yes. But it's a rickety roll back there. Like, lots of injuries, more surgeries. Who's now at the forefront of like, okay, it's time for me to get my world title? Brian Joubert.
Damn it, I was wrong.
So
Daisuke.
we get to the 2007 World Championships. Evan and Johnny find themselves both off of the podium this time. Stephane Lambiel is not able to defend his world title. He gets the bronze medal, but it's Brian Joubert who finally, like after years and years, since 2004, has been like a favorite to like win something.
He was in the mix for a long time.
Yes, and he finally is able to like come out on top. And he wins his first world title.
Great.
As a straight man.
As a straight man with 17,000 extra euros.
Right.
A legally straight man.
And a
Yes.
public acknowledgement of wrongdoing on someone else's part.
Absolutely. So who in this 2007 Worlds do we see that like has this breakthrough moment? Well, the breakthrough moment goes to Daisuke Takahashi.
Knew it.
It's finally, like the last time we had seen, we ended the last lore episode with Takeshi Honda from Japan winning the world bronze medal in 2002, which was the first time in many years a Japanese man had been on the podium. He repeated that in 2003. And now finally in 2007, we have another Japanese man on the world's podium. And Daisuke Takahashi is like a revelation. He's beautiful on the ice.
He reminded me a lot of Johnny.
He's like Johnny, but there is a different, a faster twitch to his skating. It's sharper. It's just phenomenal. And he's
Is
skating.
this the Techno Swan Lake?
This would be the next year that he does the Techno Swan Lake.
Sorry, I got so excited.
So this is like, he's done well throughout the Grand Prix, but it's at this World Championships that he like finally has that like absolute breakthrough moment. It's at home. It's in Tokyo. The crowd goes wild. He skates to Phantom of the Opera. It's like one of his best performances. And he comes away with the silver medal. There's a new kid in town, and it's Daisuke Takahashi. So we head into the 2008 season. And in this season is really when we come to like the hottest, craziest point of the Johnny-Evan rivalry.
Okay.
So they both have had like minor issues throughout the Grand Prix season, but it is like them both to pull it all together, get themselves set, get ready, and to show up for a national championships.
And the tension here is thick.
You could cut it with a butter knife. It's
right.
Juicy. It's tender. It's in front of you. It's right there. And so Johnny, after this like awful, abysmal season that he just had in 2007, he needs to make a big change. And so he leaves his coach, Priscilla Hill. And he decides that he is going to start training with Galina Zmievskaya, who was the coach of 1992 Olympic champion Viktor Petrenko and also of 94 women's champion Oksana Bayul.
Oh, okay.
Galina relocated to New Jersey, and she had been coaching in the New Jersey area for the past few years. And so this move was something that he really needed in his career. He needed a fresh start. And I would say that when he starts skating with Galina, there's more intensity to his skating. It's serious. He's taking this seriously. When he skated with Priscilla, he had been skating with Priscilla since he was like a child.
Right. She basically brought him up.
She brought him up. She taught him everything, but that also meant that like he could get away with a lot. And so if he didn't want to practice, he wouldn't practice. If he wasn't feeling good, he wouldn't skate. But with Galina, she's not going to take any of that. And Johnny knows that that's what he needs, like at this time. He needs somebody that's going to hold him to task. And also somebody that like, it's within this culture that like he respects. And it's a part of it. It's this like Eastern European influence that like he's always been a fan of now he's within that school. Galina really adds the seriousness to his skating of like, okay, you know what? Johnny's like a good competitor. Like, and he's not one to just fade away to this rivalry with Evan Lysacek. And so we head in to the 2008 US Championships. And like, this is where the battle comes to a head. You know, Evan now has sort of really found the good grace of everyone where we think, okay, it's Evan. And now Johnny again finds himself in a place that he's been accustomed to his whole career, is on this like comeback journey. So at this US Championships, they go neck and neck in the short program. Evan is second, Johnny is first. Now, in the free skate, they both skate well. So it really feels like this could be anybody's title. But now we have to wait for the scores to come in. And when the scores come in, we look up at the Jumbotron and it says Evan Lysacek, 244.77, Johnny Weir, 244.77. They tied.
Oh, I forgot about this.
They tie.
Same exact score.
So how is the tie broken? The tie is broken by whoever won the free skate. So Evan won the free skate, but it was exactly the same total score. So it shows up Evan Lysacek first place, the score. Johnny Weir second place, the score. It's the same one.
That is brutal.
Oh, it is brutal, but it only fans the flames of the rivalry.
Of course.
Because at this point, Evan has talked about how he calls Johnny the Swan because he, quote, wears that funny swan costume. And Johnny calls him a mongoose, and he doesn't even know what that is. Amazing quote. they do not like each other. But what's interesting is that like they also have like interviews from like when they were on tour in the post-Olympic season of where this like the swan and the mongoose thing seems to be sort of like an inside joke that they had between each other. And that like as the rivalry continues, they ask Evan about it and it comes off in a way that feels like, oh my God, they're being so awful to each other. Maybe he meant it that way at that point.
Right. Or maybe he didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
They're obviously annoyed with each other. I will say that. Like they're obviously tying is annoying.
Tying is annoying.
And when you keep getting asked about this rivalry, when both of them don't believe that there is one, because, you know, they both believe that they're the best and there is no rivalry, and I don't think about my competitors, and they're both annoyed by it.
I never once feel like I would have ever been allowed to talk about Gracie like this.
No,
This
is
is
crazy. But, you know, Johnny is also feeling like so slighted at this point.
I think it's like also, I don't think Johnny cared what he was allowed, quote unquote, to do. Like the way you're phrasing that. Like, I don't think
That's fair.
You know, but he's giving quotes like, I do respect Evan as an athlete, and as a person, he's an acquaintance. It's not like we're best friends and we do each other's hair and go for coffee and stuff like that. We're competitors. The rivalry isn't a constant thing for me. If I'm asked a question, I'll answer it. But if not, then I don't have anything to say about Evan. I could honestly care less, but if you do want to know something, I'll tell you. Or if he attacks me in an interview, I'll fire back. I think anyone would act the same. But to highlight sort of the real tension between him and U.S. figure skating is that like in December of 2007, Johnny gets this award in Russia, and it's the Love of Russia award. So he's presented with this award.
Oh my God, this sounds like some Russian propaganda.
When he comes back, he gives an interview and he says, when I returned from Russia, I was expecting to see some kind of announcement from my federation or the U.S. Olympic Committee that I had won an award, but I didn't see anything. I know it's interesting when Evan Lysacek attends a movie premiere, and I could pee myself with glee if Kimi Meisner throws one more pitch at a baseball game, but I actually won something. I'm very proud of it, and that's why I'm ranting. Forgive me.
Oh my God.
that is so
my
funny.
God.
I mean, that quote is amazing about Evan and Kimmy. That is hilarious.
It's insane.
Incredible.
It's so funny.
Kimmy, if I could pee myself, if I see Kimmy Meisner throw another.
That's so funny. And it's funny because it doesn't sound like he's actually trying to insult Kimmy or Evan. He's trying to be like US figure skating.
And in reality, it is insulting to Kimmy and it is insulting to Evan. Kimmy's also a world champion at this point. Let's put that out there.
Right. Now, another quote that I want to bring up is, you know, that when they talk about do they push each other, and Johnny says, Evan and I do push each other in skating. It's not that we don't get along, because we do, but we're competitors and in many ways each other's biggest rival. So, and this is where it gets insane. So, would Hitler and Stalin have sat down to tea? Probably not.
No.
Uh-huh. So, and I assume that he is the Russian in this situation in his mind. So he's likening Evan to Hitler.
Right.
Oh,
Maybe not the best choice of words.
maybe not.
Okay.
Oh,
So, okay.
definitely not.
We are now going to head into the 2008 World Championships. And as we're getting ready for the World
After
Championships.
they've just tied and Evan won on the tiebreak.
After they've just tied.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, has Evan now, this is the final nail in the coffin? Like, is this, who's going to beat out who at the World Championships?
Uh-huh.
So we get to the World Championships, and at these World Championships, 1 week before, Evan Lysacek has a really bad fall in practice on a triple axel. And apparently his blade fell off of the boot and he fell, like body slammed himself, and he has to withdraw. So he's not going to the World Championships.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So for Johnny, this is a huge opportunity to capitalize on there's only one American man battling to get onto the podium.
Okay.
So Evan Lysacek out. Stephane Lambiel still in the mix. Brian Joubert still in the mix. But somebody who was on the podium at the Olympics is the champion. Now, Brian Joubert, I do believe, is like the favorite to win this 2008 world title, but he has not a great short program. And this has opened the door for somebody like Jeffrey Buttle. And Jeffrey Buttle,
our favorite blonde
the original
highlighted
frosted
Canadian men's
tips of figure skating.
Truly, I can see him in his red costume so perfectly.
Jeffrey is really the first skater that we see capitalize on not doing a quadruple jump and focusing on getting the highest grade of execution he can on all of the elements. Like, this is a strategy we haven't really seen because, again, we're still coming out of that 6.0 system where it feels like if you're not trying the quad, you're just at a different level.
Right. The 6.0 system was forgiving for you to fall on a quad attempt.
Exactly. Yeah. And at this point, like, the points are not forgiving. That, like, the way a quad is judged is pretty close to the other triples. Like, there is no... And the grade of execution is from -3 to +3 at this time. So there's a limited amount of points that you can get, but you can still gain a lot. And so Jeffrey Buttle really, like, skates this system to his advantage. And I don't think that, like, he was really ever the favorite to win a world title. And I remember people that I skated with and coaches I worked with being like, Jeffrey Buttle will never be a world champion. And he comes in and he just skates these two incredible programs. He's the best skater of the event. He's an incredible skater, and he wins the world championships. And this is a huge deal because now we're in a new quad heading into an Olympics that is going to be in Canada.
Right.
So Jeffrey decides to do something that maybe not many people expected him to do. You'd think that he would stay around so that he could skate at the Olympics in his home country. He retires right after this World Championships. And, you know, I think for him, it's just like, it's the perfect time. He already has the Olympic medal. He now has a world title. What else is there for him to prove? Does he really need to be, like, suffering and training over the next 3 years and have all of that pressure of the Olympics? Right? Mm-hmm. And also at this time, like, there's a young Canadian skater starting to nip at his heels who we're starting to regard as, like, somebody who has a skating quality that we've never seen before, who's powerful, who skates with this old school style of skating mixed with this reckless abandon. And his name is Patrick Chan.
Uh-huh. I've heard of him.
So Patrick Chan starts to find himself in the mix. Now that, like, Jeffrey Buttle is out of the picture, it's like, now this is who Skate Canada is going to be focusing on, full stop.
Okay.
So let's go back. Jeffrey Buttle, he wins this world title. Mistakes from Takahashi and from Stephane Lambiel, they also find themselves out of the medals. And Johnny's solid, really strong program, quad toe, finds himself first world medal. Johnny Weir is now a world medalist.
God bless.
So that leads us right into 2009. Okay? So in 2009, Evan Lysacek and Johnny Weir are having a slower but steady start to their 2008-2009 season. Johnny qualifies for the Grand Prix final. He gets a bronze medal. And after the Grand Prix final, he performs in a charity show in Seoul with Unikim. And while he's there, he gets hospitalized with the flu. So this is obviously going to affect the way that he is going to perform at the US Championships. And so there is a new American skater who we've always regarded as, like, this amazing skater who's really having these great international results and who really unexpectedly wins the Grand Prix final in the lead up to the 2009 US Championships. His name is Jeremy Abbott.
Oh.
So enter the chat, Jeremy Abbott.
Enter the chat, Jeremy Abbott.
And so when we head into the 2009 US Nationals, it's been an up and down season for Evan Lysacek, but he's coming back, and it really feels that him not being at the World Championships and Johnny medaling at Worlds, like, it's stopped his momentum just, like, a little bit. And so we get to the National Championships, and Johnny does not skate great. Evan does not skate great. where it's the last skater of the event, and Brandon Morose, who is the first skater to ever land a quadruple Lutz in competition, finds himself currently leading, with Jeremy Abbott being the only skater left to go. Jeremy Abbott's not perfect, but he has such quality to his skating, and he steps up to the moment, and Jeremy Abbott wins his first national title. Brandon Morose second, Evan Lysacek the bronze.
And Johnny
Off the podium, not on the world team.
Oh.
And so now we head into the World Championships in Los Angeles, California. And at these World Championships, Evan just seems to be like in his element. He's at home. He trains in LA. You know, this is at the Crypto.com arena, which it is now. It was at the Staples Center. He trained in El Segundo. It's 20 minutes from where he trained. He's at home.
Ew, Staples Center is Crypto.com
Yeah,
now?
unfortunately.
You didn't know that?
No, it was still
Oh yeah, they
Staples
changed
Center
it
when I left.
like during the pandemic, I feel like, right?
Oh,
It's been
yeah.
a few years.
That's awful. Okay.
Crypto.com arena.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh my God. Okay, continue.
Evan has the competition of his life, and he ends up winning the world title. This is really unexpected. Like, we did not believe like Evan was going to win the world title.
We
yeah,
weren't
he goes
ready
from
for this.
third at nationals to first
Exactly.
in the world. Yeah. Okay.
But this is the first time that we see Patrick Chan on the podium. And Patrick Chan, it's just like the quality of his skating is like winning over. When everybody's
Yeah.
getting 8s in skating skills, he's getting 9s. He is just perceived to be the class of these like events.
And who is he being coached by at this point, Patrick?
So at this point, Patrick Chan is being coached by Don Laws, who is one of the former coaches of Scott Hamilton. But Patrick's original coach, his name is Osborne Colson, and he's actually one of the founders of the Toronto Cricket and Skating Club. And Osborne is really the reason why Patrick has such a strong foundation and why his basic skating skills are so good. And Don Laws is a former student of Osborne Colson. Now, Patrick skates with Mr. Colson all the way through Mr. Colson's death in 2006. And Ashley actually knows something quite interesting about how Patrick and Don Laws met.
At Colson's funeral.
So let us, just for a minute, return back to the current Olympic season. We're in the 2010 Olympic season. And now let's talk about Evgeni Plushenko, because now he's back in the mix.
And he seemingly came out of nowhere.
It feels like he's coming out of nowhere because we haven't seen him since the 2006 Olympic season. He needed to take time off after the Olympics to recover from his past injuries. And it really isn't until like March of 2009 where Plushenko announces that he's going to return back to training with his longtime coach, Alexei Mishin, in order to prepare for the 2010 Olympics. He wins another Russian national title. And at the 2010 European Championships, just weeks before the Olympics, Plushenko sets a new world record score in the short program by scoring 91.3. Now he's a real favorite for the gold medal. But skating has changed a lot in the last 4 years since we've seen Plushenko compete against everyone from around the world head to head. The last time he was at the Olympics in 2006, we were still trying to figure out this new judging system. By the time Jeffrey Buttle won the World Championships, this is where a lot of the men are focusing on, okay, take the quad out and do the clean program, because that's what's winning. It's not worth the risk, because you'll try a quad, and at the end of the day, you'll end up with 1 point after all the deductions and all of like the minuses on the element. So it's just smarter to do a double axel and get full points. Right. That's the trend, and that's sort of the route a lot of these men are taking, and they're truly inspired by the Jeffrey Buttle world title.
And so we're seeing the quads kind of fade out a little bit.
We're seeing them not be as important, right?
Okay.
It's really leaning into that perfect skate. And now the skating skills are starting to be like a bigger factor. Like they're starting to separate them. Like if you have a high score in technically, like you don't necessarily get the corresponding artistic marks, right? Like they're starting to pull away and have some separation with these different marks. And so when we're heading into the Olympic season, now Evan Lysacek has kind of pulled away. There's not really much of a rivalry right now because we're thinking, okay, he's the reigning world champion. He's now a favorite for the Olympic gold medal. And he's a favorite for this Olympic gold medal. In this mix, you have Daisuke Takahashi, who had to sit out the entire 2008-2009 season. He started off the 08-09 season with just like an awful injury that he eventually needed to get a surgery for, where they insert this like bolt into his knee. But now in the Olympic season, he's healthy, he's back, and he's in the mix. Brian Joubert, like, where is he going to fare out? And now Patrick Chan, where does Jeremy Abbott fit into all of this? And we're going to figure that out before we get to the close of this episode, which originally I thought would be the Sochi Olympics, but it will be the Vancouver Olympics. There was so much to cover. We had to cover everything in the Johnny-Evan rivalry.
Well, especially because Johnny is such a prominent voice in the sport and in pop culture.
Yes.
And
I think it's important to do his origin story justice.
Absolutely.
yeah, because he's the voice we're hearing the most, and we need to understand where he's coming from.
So if we take it back to who's in the mix and we talk about Johnny, in this Olympic season, I am in the middle of like a senior debut. So I am watching all of this sort of from the outside looking in. And from my perspective, it does feel like the judges are sort of trying to cycle Johnny out.
Well, because while this is happening, you won a couple of junior world titles, right? In like 08 and 09?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, to be clear, when we're at the US Championships in 2010, and you know that they're going to be picking an Olympic team, the way things have been going for Johnny, it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility that if I have the performance of my life at the US Championships, that they'll put me ahead of Johnny. But, that's not the way it goes. Long story short, in the short program at the US Championships, I smelled a hot dog in the stands, I doubled the Lutz, and then I fell on my footwork. Tails all the time. Happens to everybody. Let's focus back on the top three. Because let's say it together, I was an alternate. Now, back to the top three, for real. Because truly, these are the best three American men that we have. This is the strongest team that we could be sending to an Olympic Games. Jeremy Abbott, Evan Lysacek, and Johnny Weir. These are our best bets in Vancouver. It really is the solid three American men who, if Evan Lysacek could win the world championships, there's kind of no question that like Jeremy Abbott could, because Jeremy Abbott's a better skater than Evan Lysacek. And
Yes.
Johnny Weir can be more refined than Evan Lysacek. So it's really this, like, we're sending this incredibly strong team. So when we get to the national championships in 2010, it does work out that Jeremy Abbott has the performance of the season. He's first. He's the national champion heading into Vancouver. Evan Lysacek solidly in second place, and Johnny Weir finds himself the bronze medalist. He will be going to his second Olympic Games. Now, when we get to 2010, Johnny really has like a bone to pick with himself. And I think over like the past Olympics that he has, like now we're getting that Olympic audience that remembers him missing the bus, that remembers him wearing all the Russia gear. Galina Zmaevskaya is not going to not play by the rules. She knows that Johnny has to play by the rules if he wants to do it. And I think that she's probably maybe one of the only people in the entire world where Johnny would listen to her. And he gives his all in this season. Like, he really does give his all.
So she's locking it down.
She's locking it, yes.
So she's like, none of this nonsense.
She's like, no bullshit.
You are apple pie American boy next door.
But they lean into like the Johnny of it all too, because he gets these programs. He has this like amazing long program choreographed by David Wilson where he's like a fallen angel. And of course, Johnny can't have a program without any controversy. So he proudly tells like the media that like, yes, like this is like fox fur on the costume. So like he has like fur on his costumes. Like he cannot help himself.
I can't help
himself. Yeah, like PETA is like, we will murder you. He's like, it's okay. We'll talk about this later.
Uh-huh.
So when we get to the Olympics in 2010, Johnny Weir does have, I think this is the highlight of his career skating wise. And arguably there's conversation where like people do believe that he should be on the podium. And he has the skates that should have landed him higher than where he ends up, which is 6th. But it's irrelevant because it's like Johnny finally did it when it really, really mattered. And it was such a personal moment that like we still feel like he won. It was to all the naysayers. It was to anybody who's ever talked shit about him. And it was the perfect moment. And when the scores come in, they're irrelevant. It's absolutely irrelevant. Johnny is like a champion in his own right. It really feels that way.
Interesting. Wait, so was he like, why, if he is having these great skates, like the programs just aren't hard enough? Is that why he's in 6th? It's political, or
fallen a little bit out of the good grace of everybody in the skating community. And also, like, for him to do these clean programs, he is having to like take out transitions. He's skating longer entrances into the jumps.
So it's a little watered down.
Yes, he's having to water it down, but in a way that he's doing a clean program. But really, now with the rise of a Patrick Chan who's doing 1,000,000,001 transitions into every element, we're like, oh my God, you need to be doing constant footwork into everything. It's such a contrast that Johnny is taking these more lengthy approaches. He's telegraphing, which just means like waiting a bit to get into the jump, like taking your time. He's doing that to kind of be able to do these clean programs. But Patrick Chan, he's making mistakes, but he's being heavily rewarded for doing all of these transitions.
Got it. Okay, so Johnny does 2 clean programs in a, self-satisfactory effort to get 6th place.
Yes.
So what is happening on the podium?
So on the podium, Evgeni Plushenko skates a clean short program. He's the only one in the top 3 to do a quadruple combination. But he only finds himself a few points ahead of Evan Lysacek and of Daisuke Takahashi. When we get to a little bit later, I'll tell you that he has absolutely something to say about that. Shocking. And so we then get to the free skate. And Evan Lysacek has this phenomenal free skate, squeaky clean, no quadruple jump, but he does everything to the very best of his ability. And he gets a very good score, and now we wait for Evgeni Plushenko. Evgeni Plushenko goes out, and he skates, arguably, like when this program ended, I went, okay, Evgeni Plushenko, he wins the Olympics again. Because we're not looking at the little points that he leaves on the table. He doesn't do a 3-jump combo. It's little things that add up to when the scores come in, he's a little under 2 points behind Evan Lysacek, who had the completely different of this era strategy. No quad, clean program with the triple axel, comes out on top. And so he edges out Evgeni Plushenko for the Olympic title in 2010. Daisuke Takahashi comes away with the bronze medal. Now, Evgeni Plushenko, after this Olympics, has a lot to say, where he goes, he really feels like the Russian Federation left him out to dry. And he feels like, hey, I should have been ahead by at least 5 points after the short program. And if that were the case, I would have won the Olympics. And even when he gets onto the podium, he makes it a point to step onto the first place spot on his way to the silver medal spot.
Oh my God.
Okay.
And so then it becomes this joke within Russian figure skating and in Russia that you know what, he won the silver in Salt Lake, he won the gold in Torino, and he won the silver is actually platinum. So he won the platinum medal in Vancouver.
Okay.
And so this begins the conversation of a men's program is not a men's program unless it has a quadruple jump in it. Arguably, at this point, skating has changed so much that Evan was doing what was asked, and he rightfully won that Olympic title.
With a women's program. That is the quote, right? Roughly, the Plushenko quote.
Oh my God. What an eye roll.
It's not the last we see of Plushenko, and, after this Olympics, Evan will flirt with saying that he's going to come back. But I think that's where we're going to end the second part of the men's lore. But there was a lot to get to, and there was
Who got bronze in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, Daisuke Takahashi comes away with the bronze.
Okay.
And the World Championships, right after that Olympics, he becomes the first Japanese man to ever win a world title. which will become a common theme for Japanese men
You
to
don't
come.
say.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for almost taking us through Sochi. Thank you for taking us 2/3 of the way that you promised us.
Yeah.
There was just too much.
You did it justice.
I appreciate you. You're doing
that
a
was thorough.
great job at the lore. So next time we go to Sochi.
I'm learning so much about this sport.
I'm glad,
And it's
Ashley.
fun now because we're getting into names that I really know and understand or like am personally friends with and like competed next to. So it's very excited. And I can't wait. And I hope that you do take this approach to hear how you talk about yourself and your skating in all of this, because I think it's valuable, especially for our listeners, to understand your lore and your origin story of how you came to be the person that you are. So don't leave any of that out.
Okay.
Don't skip over your own lore.
Yeah.
I wouldn't dare.
Okay. Good.
Wow. Another great lore episode in the books. Thank you, Adam.
So do you think this is going to be a 4-parter?
We'll see how long the next part takes.
Right. Because we were planning on 3, but it's not. I mean, each time we're doing it, like there's so many good quotes and there's so many storylines that it's just
I
like.
think the next one has to be 2014, 2018. I feel like we have to break it up that way.
Yeah, I mean, you could maybe get to Beijing. I don't know. It depends on how much you can like breeze through the seasons in between. And some of them are better than others, those seasons in between.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly feel that like in our next lore that like we will get to the Sochi Olympics quite quickly.
Okay.
Because that is really when a new important storyline really emerges.
I think I can guess.
In the men's
but I
figure
won't.
skating. Mm-hmm. Call Interpol.
This is
Get ready.
And the
this is
storyline
my
is
favorite era
Interpol.
of men's skating.
Wow.
Well, that being said, thank you for your listen. Adam, thank you for your lore. We appreciate your attention to detail, and we will catch you all next time on part 3 of the men's lore.
Bye.
Bye.